UFC Fight Night, Sadiq Yusuff versus Edson Barboza in the main event. Starting from the bottom of the card, making my way up to the top of the card as usual. Starting with the first fight of the night, Ashley Yoder taking on Emily Ducote. Now, for this one, Ashley Yoder's been out of the cage for 2 years. She's been out of the cage for 2 years. She's won four in her last five. Her last win was against Miranda Granger. She's been beaten by Jinyu Frey, Angela Hill, Lavina Souza, and Randa Marcos by split. She's a 50-50 fighter, and when I say 50-50 fighter, I mean she is an actual 50-50 fighter with a record of 8-8. Um, She's not very quick in her striking. I do expect this to be a striking fight. I don't think Ashley Yoder is going to be able to take down Emily Ducote. She's 35 years old, about to be 36, compared to the younger Emily Ducote. For Emily Ducote, she her last fight was against Lupi Godinez, and that was a fight where she lost. She got outstruck by Lupi, but Lupi is in her prime and a much better fighter than Ashley Yoder is. So no real shame there. Bad, not good striking in my opinion for Yoder if she's getting pieced up badly by Jinyu Frey, who's 10-6. But yeah, I think Ducote should be able to pick her apart here, win a comfortable decision, um, use her leg kicks as she did against Jessica Penne. She used a lot of leg kicks against Penne, really chopped down that leg. Um, she has decently timed counters as well, Ducote. I think she can definitely counter Yoder if Yoder's swinging. Been out of the cage for a while. Her timing's not going to be down. I think this is a clear-cut fight for Emily Ducote, a setup spot after two losses. Next fight, we have El Guapo Chris Gutierrez versus Alatong Haley. Now, to start this one off, I'll start with Chris Gutierrez. His last fight, he did lose to Pedro Munoz, which is a huge step up in competition from some of the guys he's been fighting. I know he did fight Frankie Edgar, but that was a completely um, old version of Frankie Edgar who was on his way out and already had been knocked out multiple times before that. So he fights Pedro Munoz. He gets beat, gets hurt in the first round, kind of just plays it safe, tries not to get hurt again, just kind of loses a decision there, not putting out too much volume after he did get dropped. In this fight, he's going to try to use his kickboxing advantage. I do think he is a better, pure kickboxer than Alatong Haley. Haley does have power, but I think Chris Gutierrez should be able to, stick and move like he usually likes to do. Utilize feints to kind of catch Alatong Haley off guard. Again, chop down the leg, stick and move, stick and move. And he can lure people into KOs as well. That's something that we saw against Frankie Edgar. It was a well-timed knee that put Frankie Edgar to sleep. Spinning back fist to Becquerel Dana. He does have some knockout ability, but that knockout ability typically doesn't come from his hands. It's more so, if he spins at the right time or if he throws a perfectly timed knee. But I don't know if he's going to knock out Alatong Haley here, but I do think he will be the much better pure striker as long as he doesn't get caught on the chin. And I do think that is um, basically how this fight's going to go down. Unless he gets caught and rocked, kind of like how he did in the Pedro Munoz fight. If he doesn't get rocked like that and he stays composed, I think he could just pick apart Alatong Haley to a decision. Next fight is Arena Alexieva taking on Melissa Dixon. There's not really much I can go off of here. They're both relatively unproven, 5-1 versus 5-0. Some of the notes I've written about Arena Alexieva, her striking's not very good. She just wings punches. Um, she's not Russian Ronda. I don't, that nickname I don't think is very fitting. I know she did submit her last opponent, Stephanie Egger, but I don't think she's anything like Ronda Rousey. I don't think she's going to sniff a belt anytime soon or ever for that matter. But against Melissa Dixon, I'm not very high on Melissa Dixon. She's not very good. I think Arena Alexieva is just can really do whatever she wants to win this fight. I don't think Melissa Dixon's striking's good. I think in the grappling, Alexieva should also have an edge there. And although Arena Alexieva has lost to an 8-6 opponent, that was a long time ago. She hasn't been necessarily the most active, But I do think Irina Alekseeva should win this fight. She has more UFC experience, only by one fight. Still, she has a win in the UFC. Melissa Dixon, um, just coming in the UFC after winning about a year ago. I'm just going to roll with Alekseeva here. It's a low level fight. There's not much to go off of. It's just when it's two low level fighters, one has UFC experience, submitted Stephanie Egger, who's a known judoka, who's actually good at judo. And I think for that reason, it's like you kind of have to pick Irina Alekseeva here. You can't roll with the favorite, Melissa Dixon, who hasn't shown us anything. So I'm going to go with Alekseeva. Terrence McKinney taking on Brendan Murat. For Brendan, he's a guy out of the New England Cartel, which is obviously a very good boxing gym. Um, in this fight, though, I think McKinney he has that fast twitch, explosive first round. That's kind of what he is. He's a fast twitch, explosive type of fighter. He's a very good wrestler, pretty good grappler as well. We saw him get take the back of Nazim Sadikov for the entire first round of their fight. So he does have a good grappling ability as well, not just his wrestling. He does seem to cardio dump after round one. After round one ends, his cardio is basically zapped. But I don't even know if Brendan Murat can finish him, unless Terrence McKinney completely, throws everything in round one and somehow he doesn't finish this kid. I think that's the only way he can lose. And even if he does throw out a ton of volume or goes heavy for the kill in the first round and doesn't get it, I don't think Brendan Murat's like a huge KO threat to McKinney. Um, he's not very. He's going to try to make this a scrap. He's going to try to I already know he's a New England Cartel guy. He's going to stick in there and fight. He's not going to give up on himself. But I just think McKinney is just better. I think he's physically better. I think he's got better skill set. And there's too many what ifs on Brendan Murat here. He's only 26 years old. He's fought a bunch of regional level guys. His last win was against an 11-20 opponent. Only regional guys he's fought. Loses a decision a few years ago. If you really look at his record, he's never fought anybody. Terrence McKinney, bit of a UFC. I don't want to say UFC veteran, but he's had quite a few UFC fights so far, and physically better as far as more explosive, more powerful, better grappler, better wrestler. He's better everywhere. He should win this fight in the first round. Next is Tainara Lisboa and Ravina Oliveira. Um, I don't think this line is the most accurate. Tainara Lisboa and Ravina Oliveira, 7-1 versus 6-2, -330 favorite for Tainara Lisboa. I'm not sure if Tainara Lisboa should be a -330 favorite against anybody in the UFC here. But she is a Muay Thai fighter. She did fight Valentina Shevchenko. That was way back in the day. She has a Muay Thai base though. She has pretty good hand speed, decent striking. Um, Her takedown defense isn't terrible. She did get taken down though in her last fight before beating Jessica Rose Clark. She made a mistake in the grappling. It might have been a cut kick. I'm not really sure, but I know she was on the ground for 3 minutes of one of those rounds. But either way, she did work her way up and did end up submitting actually Jessica Rose Clark against Ravina Oliveira, another fighter who's fought nobody on the regional scene. I can't pick her to win, knowing that Tainara Lisboa, she came in off the regional scene, not fighting anybody either. But at least she has a win over Jessica Rose Clark. At least I know that she fought Valentina Shevchenko in a Muay Thai fight. I just know that she has, at least some striking ability. I don't know what Ravina Oliveira is going to come in and show us. So this is more so just a pick of me just saying I don't know what we're getting out of Ravina. So I'm going to take the person that I've seen before, and the person that I know has at least a skill set in a martial art like Muay Thai, where if it does stay on the feet, she should win. So that's my analysis there. Not much to go off of. Low level fight. I wouldn't even consider betting it if I were, if you guys are looking to bet. Um, this one is one where Darren Elkins and TJ Brown. I was really considering picking Darren Elkins for a while. In my notes, I wrote that Darren Elkins, he does have very slow striking at this point in his career. He always kind of was a slow striker. He wasn't the most explosive guy, not a great athlete, takes a ton of damage. He actually has a tattoo on his chest. I'm not sure if he'll show it, and I guess it doesn't show it in this picture. But he wrote his the damage tattoo across his chest. He does take a ton of damage. T.J. Brown should be able to defeat him, I would say. Um, Elkins, he's just known for being able to absorb punishment and keep coming forward. And sometimes he breaks guys if he can absorb that punishment. You know, T.J. Brown, he's a guy that's fighting out of the same camp as Bryce Mitchell. So he probably will shoot some takedowns, although Darren Elkins doesn't have bad takedown defense. In fact, he actually got a few of his own takedowns in his fight against Jonathan Pierce 9 months ago. He did get dominated in that fight pretty badly, but early on, he did actually have, I think, one or two takedowns. So he got reversed and everything, but Jonathan Pierce is a very good grappler, and he's going to push the pace as well. So no way for Darren Elkins to win that fight. Um, I was really, like I said, I was really considering picking Darren Elkins. I was really considering, just rolling with him because he is an underdog. Um, but at the end of the day, it's the 33-year-old versus a 39-year-old. One of these guys is way more washed up. I know T.J. Brown's not very good to begin with. I'm not going to trust in TJ Brown. I'm not going to say this is like a confident pick, but TJ Brown is much closer to his prime. Um, he's going to be the more explosive guy, although I don't really think either of these guys are very explosive at all. I do think TJ Brown, though, is going to be, as I said, the better athlete. His last loss to he lost to Bill Algeo and Shai Leonard and Becky, beat Eric Silva in a fight that shouldn't have even been as competitive as it was for part of it. Charles Rosa and Kai Kamaka. Darren Elkins, I just think, he got beaten badly by Cub Swanson. Jonathan Pierce obviously beat him pretty badly. Beats Tristan Cano a year and a half ago. Derek Minner. I just think at this point, Darren Elkins was way, way, way past it. Um, and maybe I should have trusted my gut instinct and just took Elkins because I know if TJ Brown does gas out, which he is known to gas out sometimes, and when he gasses out, he puts himself in some compromising positions. He's been submitted before, and Darren Elkins actually is not a bad grappler for what it's worth. So would I be surprised if Darren Elkins kind of comes back later in the fight and can submit TJ Brown? I really wouldn't. Honestly, it's not the craziest thing in the world, but I have to pick the guy in TJ Brown that is training with Bryce Mitchell, a guy that's way younger, more in his prime, even though he's not really a great UFC fighter, with a 3-4 UFC record, not even fighting like the best of the best competition, but still against a guy like Elkins, I got to slightly lean TJ Brown. Next fight, we're starting on the main card. This fight is absolutely incredible. It is C-Rod Christian Rodriguez versus Cameron Simon. Now, C-Rod missed weight by 5 pounds, or by 4 pounds technically. He weighed in at 140. Now, obviously, there's a 1 pound buffer. You can weigh in at 136, but he missed weight again. Not only did C-Rod miss weight against Cameron Simon here, I don't know if it says it. Yes, it does. 140-pound weigh-in result. Obviously, Cameron Simon made weight, 135 and a half. C-Rod also missed weight against Raul Rosas. So this guy's going to be forced. He should be forced to move up now. You miss weight twice in a row. You're moving up in weight, or you got to be more disciplined. I think C-Rod is either a case of he needs to move up or he's not disciplined enough. I'm not sure what the case is there. But against Cameron Simon, I know Christian Rodriguez, C-Rod. He's a good striker. He has that classic kind of like hands up Muay Thai striking style. He should be a better grappler here than Cameron Simon. He had some good scrambles and he showed some pretty impressive grappling against a guy like Raul Rosas, who's just going to be an aggressive wrestler, and he did pretty well against him after the first round. Rosas did win that first round pretty clearly, but C-Rod came back and won the second and the third round and out grappled Rosas pretty easily. Um, he does have pretty technical striking, C-Rod, but I don't think it's as impressive as some people say. I think it's good striking. I think he's got pretty fundamental kind of like Muay Thai style striking. But I just think Cameron Simon is the better striker. He throws a lot of leg kicks. The volume is there. He switches stances a lot. He's going to be constantly making C-Rod second guess himself on what he wants to do here. I do expect C-Rod to try to grapple. I do expect him to try to wrestle. Cameron Simon's been taken down even by the likes of Terrence Mitchell. Um, and, he's been taken down and by Stephen Kozlov, so he has been in some grappling exchanges before where he was taken down. But I think he's got to be improving this. And if he is taken down, he should be able to work his way back up to the feet as long as he's not caught in obviously in a scramble by a tricky grappler in C-Rod. On the feet, though, I do think Cameron Simon, with the volume of leg kicks, he's going to be. Cameron Simon's a better striker, I feel like, than people give him credit for. He has an awkward style, but he lands a lot. A lot of nice body kicks, leg kicks. Some of his punches, like his knockout on the contender series against Josh Wang Kim, that was a beautiful knockout, that left hook knockout. After that, he fought Stephen Coslow, finished him against the cage, beat Mano Martinez by decision, and then beat Terrence Mitchell, obviously by ground and pound after getting taken down early. The Mano Martinez fight, he dropped Mano Martinez. I just think this guy's got power. He's got good power. I think he's more volume on the feet as well. C-Rod probably going to have the grappling edge here, but for me, I like the variety. I like the variety of strikes for Simon. I like the fact that C-Rod, I feel like he's just more of a basic striker, which isn't bad. Basic is not always bad. We've seen Sean Strickland take basic to the next level. And when I'm talking about basic, I don't mean basic as in like a bad striker. I mean basic as in Strickland. What does Strickland do? He throws, the push kick sometimes, but for the most part, it's just one twos, pressure boxing with the push kick mixed in. That's what he does. And he's, just with those basics, he's become champion. So, not saying basics can't win you big fights, but I just like the variety of Cameron Simon striking. I like the volume, and I think if C-Rod, since he had a tough weight cut here, if he gets a little bit tired and can't get the grappling going, even though he has good cardio, Simon's going to keep pushing that striking pace. So, give me Cameron Simon here as an underdog. Second fight is on the main card of Michel Pereira versus Andre Petroski. Now, to start with Michel Pereira here. Michel Pereira is, and by the way, the Edgar Chavez and Daniel Lacerda fight is canceled officially. Lacerda had to pull out, and I believe Chavez missed weight anyway. So, regardless, that fight is canceled. But now, Michel Pereira, Andre Petroski, second fight on the main card. This is, I was going to say Alex Pereira. This is Michel Pereira's first fight up at middleweight. He missed weight in the fight he would have had last, which is Wonderboy. Missed weight against Wonderboy. Wonderboy decided he did not want to take the fight, which I don't blame him. I wouldn't take that fight either. Wonderboy is looking for ways to get back into the title picture, even though he's a little bit older. And the way to do that is not by taking on a 30-year-old that missed weight by a ton, by a few pounds. So they forced Michel Pereira to move up in weight. He's now fighting Andre Petroski. Petroski's taking this on short notice. So for Petroski here, I think he's going to be outmatched in the striking. I think Andre Petroski has a much worse striking skill set than Michel Pereira does. I think Michel Pereira utilizes his movement very well. I think his lateral movement is going to give Petroski problems. I think Petroski's thinking he can just take down, Michel Pereira and just hold him down and win a decision, or even submit him. But I just think Michel Pereira is going to be someone he's going to be someone that's constantly moving, not giving Petroski looks to, take him down. And I just think someone like Michel Pereira, who's younger by 2 years, has a ton of experience, 28-11 record against Petroski, only has 11 fights in his entire career. Michel Pereira is a much more experienced fighter. I'd honestly, definitely say he's fought the better level of competition. I know Michel Pereira hasn't fought, in his last few fights, he hasn't fought like the elite of the elite, but Santiago Ponzinibbio is a very good fighter. Andre Petroski, he did fight GM3 to a split decision, which honestly, it wasn't a great look there. GM3 was landing on him throughout parts of that fight. Wellington Turman again, not he's okay, I guess. Nick Maximov out of the UFC, Yao Zhang Hu, and then Michael Gilmore. So some of these guys that Petroski's been fighting are like bottom of the barrel middleweights. I feel like Michel Pereira, His hands aren't really the best part of his game. I do think he's going to outstrike Petrosky, though, move around, outstrike him, try to defend takedowns. And if he can defend the takedowns, he should be able to win this fight on the feet. Petrosky definitely going to look to wrestle, definitely going to look to grapple. But is he going to have 3 rounds of cardio? If this does get extended, will Petrosky have 3 rounds of cardio to beat a guy like Michel Pereira if he does try to take him down? Because I just don't see Petrosky's, throwing big overhands. I don't think that's going to be. I don't think he's going to be able to outstrike a guy like Pereira, who's moving up in weight. Not facing the level. I don't want to say the level competition, but not facing that speed threat. When you're at welterweight, the guys are a lot faster, a lot sharper. Middleweight, they're bigger, they're more powerful, but I don't think a knockout is really live here. If anyone gets a knockout, it might even be Michel Pereira inside the distance, but I am going to go with Michel Pereira to get it done here as I believe, minus 200 favorite or so, minus 205. Featured fight on the main card is a very, very good fight, very high level fight. Jonathan Martinez taking on Adrian Yanez. Very good one there. For me, I know that Jonathan Martinez is a kickboxer, to Adrian Yanez being a boxer. So it's going to really be the punching, the boxing ability of Yanez versus the kicks of Jonathan Martinez. And Martinez does have very good kicks. He actually has finished a fight, Cub Swanson. He finished him with light kicks. He beat Said Nurmagomedov in his last fight. But that Said Nurmagomedov fight, it's a completely different fight. Said is a different fighter than Adrian Yanez. Said Nurmagomedov is pretty much a kickboxer. He did try to grapple a lot in that fight, but Said is not. He's not Umar. He's not one of those Dagestan wrestlers. He's more of a striker. Very good win for Jonathan Martinez because Saeed's a very talented striker and very, very talented fighter. But just wanted to point that out. That's not the Nurmagomedov that you guys are probably thinking of. Obviously beats Cub Swanson, Vince Morales. But for Yanez, I know Yanez just lost to Rob Font, just got knocked out by Font. But I think in a fight like this, I don't think Jonathan Martinez has the hands to deal with Adrian Yanez if he's pressuring him. I think the leg kicks will be there for Martinez, and he's going to have to chop down the legs of Yanez, take away his base. Because if Yanez has his base and he's throwing big power in his hands, I don't think Martinez has, like I said, I don't think he has the boxing to be able to deal with a guy like Yanez. I think Yanez is much better in the boxing. Martinez is much better in the kicking. So I do think the pressure has to be there for Giannis. He has to get in the face of Martinez, make this a dirty fight, look to chin. I don't want to say chin him, but definitely look to put the power on him by pressuring him, by moving forward, not letting Martinez kind of keep it range and just pick him apart with the low kicks and with his kicking game. So yeah, I do like Adrian Yanez. Martinez also got knocked out. People are talking a lot about Adrian Yanez getting knocked out by Rob Font. Rob Font's a terrible stylistic matchup for Yanez. Rob Font's a big boxer, very big for the division. He's a good boxer too. And a guy, in a boxer versus boxer fight, Rob Font versus Adrian Yanez, he just got the worst of it. He did land some strikes on Rob Font, but Font, eventually caught him, put him away. I don't think Martinez has that boxing ability. I think he's more of, trying to move around, kick, similar to his teammate Chris Gutierrez. Chris Gutierrez and Jonathan Martinez are very similar to me, fighting at the same training camp. So, yeah, I do like Adrian Yanez to win this fight. I do think he has. I will say Jonathan Martinez has actually showed good grappling too, but I think Yanez should be able to. I know he's gotten training in with Rafian Stotts, who's a very good wrestler. So I don't think the grappling is going to be much of a factor here. I think it'll be a striking fight, and I'm going to go with Adrian Yanez to get back on track. Co-main event of the evening here, we have Jennifer Maia taking on Viviane Araújo. So I feel like this is another fight where it's going to be mostly played out in the striking. Jennifer Maia is coming off of 2 wins to Casey O'Neill and Marina Moroz. Maia's boxing, it's basically what she does. She's going to box. and it's pretty much mostly just boxing. I mean, that's the best part of her game, and I don't think she's going to stray away from that after her last, especially her last fight, beating prospect in Casey O'Neill, who a lot of people were really high on. For Viviane Araújo, though, much less experience. Sometimes I like to mention this. When I don't want to say like a ton of less UFC experience, excuse me, but she is 11-5 overall. Jennifer Maya is a year younger, close to 2 years younger, actually, if you look at, just turned 35 versus turning 37 very soon. Jennifer Maya on a two-fight win streak, Viviane Araújo on a two-fight losing streak. Albeit it's a good competition, obviously the champion, Alexa Grasso, but Amanda Ribas is a bad, 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 bad striker. Amanda Ribas is really bad. She leaves herself open. Her striking is not good whatsoever. Her hands aren't good. And the fact that Viviane Araújo was getting outstruck by Amanda Ribas makes me unable to pick her, even as an underdog, against a fighter like Jennifer Maya. So that's about all I can say about that one. If you're getting outstruck by Amanda Ribas, I'm not picking you to beat someone that is known to have decent boxing. Jennifer Mayo. It is women's MMA, so we've seen crazy stuff happen. Maybe I should just pick the dog. If I were you, I wouldn't touch this fight as far as betting it. I think betting on a fight like this is stupid. But for me, the pick is going to be Jennifer Maya. And lastly, we have the main event of the evening. And this is a really interesting. This is an interesting fight. We have Sodiq Yusuff versus Edson Barboza. So to start off, Sodiq Yusuff, much younger fighter. That's the first thing you notice before you even look at any of their fights or look at who they beat and everything. 30 to 37 years old. Edson Barboza, 7 years older. He's on the other side of 37 too. It's not like he just turned 37. He's getting up there in age. He's getting up there. Sadiq should be in his prime here at only 30 years old, coming off of a layoff over a Don Shainis win, which was a short notice fight. Sadiq was supposed to fight Giga Chikadze, but he ended up having to fight Don Shainis on very short notice. Beat him easily, guillotined him in about 30 seconds. Um, in his fight against Arnold Allen, which was the highest level of opponent he's fought in his career by far, Arnold Allen did drop him twice in the first and the second round. He dropped Sadiq Yusuff with a straight left hand in the first round, then rocked him with a head kick in the second round. So that to me is a little bit worrying when you're fighting a guy like Edson Barboza, that you've been, not only did you get rocked by you got rocked by a straight left, and you also got rocked by a head kick, and Barboza's got nasty kicks. But against Billy Q, the pressure was working for Billy Q up until the knockout, right? The knockout happens. Edson Barboza threw a perfect knee right up the middle on Billy Q, knocked him out badly. It was great timing. It showed that Edson Barboza is still a dangerous striker. The thing is, though, I think Sadiq Yusuff is more dangerous than Billy Q. I think he can implement a similar style of a Billy Q, but I think Sadiq Yusuff is just a little bit better everywhere than Billy Q, except for maybe pure cardio. Besides pure cardio and just ability to press forward, I think Sadiq Yusuff is better than Billy Q. I think he can implement that same pressure style where he gets in the face of Barboza. Barboza doesn't work as well when he's getting pressured. He wants to be controlling the striking, and when he does control the striking, he's very elite. He can beat a lot of guys, and he can really hurt them. Like the Dan Hooker fight, Shane Burgos fight are two examples of that. But I just think Sadiq Yusuff has to be smart enough here to know, all right, it's a 5-round fight. I can't let this guy get in a rhythm. I can't let him get in a rhythm. I think there's going to be some cage control for Sadiq Yusuff. I think there's going to be, he's going to try to get that clinch against the cage, going to try to push him up, make him tired, try to wear down the older Edson Barboza. And I think that pressure will eventually get to Barboza. I don't know if there's going to be a finish here, but I do think the younger Sadiq Yusuff should be able to beat the much older Edson Barboza with pressure, with cage control, maybe trying to work in a few takedowns, even though it's kind of difficult to take down Edson Barboza. He doesn't have terrible takedown defense. He's been taken down before, but the guys he's been taken down by are guys like Bryce Mitchell. Um, if you look further back, obviously he fought Habib, a few other guys, and he's very durable. So not sure if Sadiq's gonna be able to find a finish, but I think there's a clear path to victory for Yusuff to get it done here. For Barboza, there is a path to victory as well, which is why he's still a slight underdog and not a massive underdog. But I do think he's not going to have that same level of cardio, that same ability to fight when he's getting pressured, especially as the rounds go on. So give me Sadiq Yusuff here to get it done. And that wraps up UFC Fight Night Yusuff versus Barboza. Thank you guys very much for watching. A lot of good fights on the card, and I'll see you in the next one.